Yes, ma'am.
The charge you have pending in my court is called animal prohibited transaction. I know what that usually means. That means that you're outside of PetSmart selling puppies. Is that what happened?
Well, yes and no. I wasn't outside of PetSmart, but I was in that like shopping area. Like
Right.
PetSmart was over there and I
Right.
was like away from it, but
So the fine range for that allegation is $100 to $500, and the court costs are $76. It's an Amarillo code violation to sell pets that way.
mhm.
You want to plead not guilty because you want to hire an attorney, have a trial, or even talk to Miss Denholm today.
No, I'll pay the fine.
Okay. Do you want to plead guilty or no contest to talk about paying the fine?
Yes, that's fine.
Which one?
No contents.
Okay. On your no contest plea, fine and court costs is $329. So can you pay that today or do you need time?
Yeah, I can pay it today.
Okay, so you're now going to be able to go online. And do you see in the chat, it says pay by phone, pay online, go down to your chat, and then you can actually click on that link. Do you have any questions, Ms. Prieto?
No, ma'am.
What kind of puppies were you selling?
Great Dane Bull Mastiff.
Oh my goodness. It's just, you've got to have a special permit to sell.
Well, I was looking for that. So like I was looking online, like, cause I was in Lubbock beforehand and they had let me know Lubbock was like, you cannot sell dogs. And I was like, got it. Thank you.
That's pretty much how
So I was looking online and I couldn't find anything. And even still, I was trying to look for a permit or something. And there's like nothing online that lets you know about
you have to go through the pet stores to sell pets.
Okay.
Okay, Ms. Prieto, if you have any trouble going online to pay, then call us or send us an email, okay?
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You're free to go.
Hey, Lacey, look at that. I'm trying to erase that right there. And see, we're going to use the Arabic number system for you on and it's, I mean, it's smudged and you can't read it. This is the new and improved system. Makes our lives all much better, was promised. It's not working.
Cross it out, once you why it looks good.
Do it.
Just put a line.
On this, the last case.
My cause this You appreciate this analogy I was reading. Judge, you familiar with the situation right now with John Morant? I'm using him as an example. You have a professional basketball player, $200 million contract. He got caught with a gun in the club, right? They let him make it. And then just recently he has a gun in the car with him and he's 23 years old. Now you might say, well, Langston, what's the point that I'm making? And here's the point that I'm making. Welcome to Clown Town. A lot of times people in their young ages really make some bad decisions. And in the case of Ja, you talking about a man has a $230 million contract and can potentially throw that away. In this case, my analogy to my client, I'm gonna show you the connection is this. What I suspect, Judge, in the case of Ja, the reason that this multi-millionaire is probably making bad decisions is that he didn't really have guidance in his life and he didn't have the support that he needed. In my client's case, and he'll tell you, hey, was your dad involved in your life?
No, sir.
Did your dad go to prison?
Yes, sir.
So with you growing up, you really didn't necessarily have a positive influence, did you?
No, sir.
And
My mom.
and with you getting in trouble right now, I know it, and Judge asked us to respond to this prior sentence where it said that, hey, you had continued to commit crimes. When that guy got beat up, I'm gonna use the word beat up.
Yes, sir.
Clearly he was hurt bad, right?
Yes, sir.
Clearly he had to go to the hospital for his life, right?
Yes, sir.
And when you saw him, did you have empathy and compassion?
It hurt because that's my friend.
That's your friend.
We don't have no conflict with each other. It was just a heat of the moment thing. Like
Right,
he had an argument and a disagreement with me and a group of people that I was with,
right.
and it began that way. But I never intended for him to be
Hurt
fighting
that
for
bad.
his life. I
Right.
never had any problems with him prior to that. To this, as I included in the pre-sentence investigation, when a lady came and seen me, I said I wish to get in contact with him if I could, and he knows, because he would be able to, if he was here today, he would tell y'all, like, me and him never had problems. It was just an argument
They got out of hand.
of a recent deceased friend of ours,
Mhm.
and it got out of hand.
Right.
That's like, he was one of a close friend of me, a real close friend of me.
So the question I'm getting to, the judge wanted me to kind of respond to where it's headed in the report about you continuing to commit crime.
Yes,
And I guess what I'm saying is that, I'm sorry.
Thanks. Keep going.
I guess what I'm saying is that apparently Ja Morant, and I used him as the analogy, he didn't get the wake up call when he got caught with the gun and having a $200-some million contract. That wasn't a wake up for him.
yes, sir.
But in this particular case, where you have a friend who was hurt real bad, has this been a wake up call for you?
Yes, sir. It's been a severe wake up call for me. I recently lost two siblings, a sister, my older brother, while I've been incarcerated.
And here's what we asking judge is that unlike in Josh's situation where later on he's found with a gun again, in your situation, are you telling that judge, hey judge, I won't be in your courtroom
He
again
never see my face.
if you give me probation? And then another good thing,
Wait a second. Hold on. I'm sorry.
Hmm.
He was put on
no, he said he
probation as a juvenile
Yes, sir.
and
right.
for let's see, how many times? Let's see, I see one,
Twice.
2018, two in 2018, evading arrest and detention in Harris County,
No, sir. It was
12 months adjudicated probation. That was regular probation.
Yes, sir.
Well, what
So he's been on probation 3 separate times,
Yes, sir.
right? And this was committed, let's see, hold on here, 12 months adjudicated. So this was committed after he had been on probation for 3 different offenses. Certainly anybody with a brain,
Yes,
half a brain,
yes, sir.
would know that criminality has consequences and people take it seriously.
Yes, sir.
Well, I know, but the point is after all of that, you beat a man senseless to where he almost died.
correct. And just the reason why he was asking for the
Well, the
probation.
point being is, really, you hadn't figured that out yet?
I
That
have.
we're serious about following the rules?
No, yes, sir. And I have. And
No. After 3 times being brought through court proceedings, you go back a 4th time and almost kill somebody.
yes, sir. And I take full responsibility.
You're
for what I did.
going to.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah, that's why we're here, is to hold people responsible.
Yes, sir.
He's talking about this guy with a lot of money. I know a lot of people who make stupid decisions, but they're rich,
Yes, sir.
especially entertainers or athletes. Nobody says that so they can throw 100 miles an hour or you shoot 30-foot jump shots all day long.
Yes, sir.
But I just don't think that's going to be following the rules, which is live honestly, harm no one, give each person their due respect.
Yes, sir.
Those are the 3 basic rules.
I learned a lot being incarcerated, though, sir, for these past 4 months.
Okay.
I really have, and I'm just asking for probation
What?
to give a chance to myself. And
What did you learn in jail that you didn't learn by 3 prior probations?
I've just
What
learned
is
that
it, generally? You just want to be free is what you want.
no, it's not just about being free, Mr.
Well,
Stevens.
what is it you
I
learned?
lost a lot of family members while I've been here. I lost a younger sister who was 3 years old. I lost a brother who was 14.
Well, you don't think life goes on when you're in custody?
It does.
It does. And part of life is death.
Yes, sir.
When you're in custody, things are going to happen and you're not going to get to go.
Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, that doesn't take that doesn't take a 1 day of incarceration to learn.
And Judge, if you just give him this one chance, the big stick is that if he's on deferred and he violates, he's looking at the full range of punishment. And that's a huge stick of up to 20 years in prison. And what he's telling me and what he's telling you today is that if you give him this shot, how old are you again?
19.
19, yeah,
19.
Just 19. That instead of sending him to the pen, and then he can also pay the restitution to the guy for any and all the injuries and make him work, Judge. Make him work, have to go get a job, pay the guy back for the medical bills and any other bills that he has associated with that. He's willing to do that. And he's saying that, hey, Judge, I'm not going to be back in your courtroom no matter what. I mean, I think that's what he's saying. Are you saying that?
So I'm saying that.
Well, he didn't say that to the 3 previous judges.
Actually, sir, when I called my first probation sentencing, I called probation for a group of people. A group of people got caught with marijuana at my middle school, and I took the fall. And
So
I
lied?
No, sir, no, I didn't lie. I was a part of that group of people, and
Okay.
and
Well, then you ought to be held responsible.
no, yes, sir, and I deserve to be held responsible. That's why when he gave me probation, I completed it. As he can tell you in my PSI, I didn't violate probation. I did everything I needed to do. I don't do drugs. I'm
What
not.
about the other probations?
I completed.
I know. Why do you keep getting on probation?
I got probation just from
Generally,
prior mistakes that I made as a child.
Generally, after the first probation, people get it.
Yes,
They
sir.
figure it out.
I was only a child though, Mr. Stevens.
Well, I'm sorry.
And I'm still young.
You don't
but
know-
I'm learning.
You don't know right from wrong
No, I do.
when it comes to beating somebody almost to death.
Yeah, no, I do, and I was wrong for that. I
You don't know right from
severely
wrong?
for that.
Nobody ever told you that drugs were illegal. We learned that early.
No, I learned from my father
okay.
being incarcerated for
All
drug
right.
abuse.
Let's see. What about evading arrest or detention? That means you ran from police. You didn't know that was the wrong thing to
No,
do.
I did.
Okay,
The
you
first
knew
time
better.
Yes, sir. I will.
Anything statements say?
Judge, this beating occurred at about 2:52 a.m. in the morning. And this so-called friend of the defendants, who he's so worried about, was left laying there until 8 o'clock, about 7:44 a.m. the next morning, when he was discovered almost dead from the beating that 3 people gave him, including this defendant. This gentleman had to lay there alone, suffering until 8 o'clock in the morning from the injuries that were given by this gentleman and a couple of other people. And I use the word gentleman loosely. I've given a consideration of his age and his lack of adult criminal history in my offer, but I don't think he walks out of here because this gentleman almost didn't walk out of here with his life. If he had shot him, he'd have been probably in better shape than he was when he got stopped. And the pain that he went through waiting for someone to find him instead of this gentleman calling the police or somebody, an ambulance, to come help his friend out. We would ask for the 10 years prison time. I think it's fair. I think it's a sentence that meets the crime.
Okay. Anything else you want to end with? Yes, sir.
Judge, the thing that I want to end with, Judge, is this. He's 19 years old. He's accepted responsibility. I know, like in federal courts, a big thing is acceptance of responsibility. He's accepting his responsibility. I think he's saying that this is the wake-up call that he needed. And, you know, a friend, I think, if they were to see each other, they would reconcile. I mean, would you think so?
Yes, sir. That's one of my friends that I hung with on a day-to-day basis every day. If you were to have any contact with him, he would tell you the same thing, that it was just a mishap that got out of hand. We had just lost a friend due to gun violence, and he brought up the situation, and the 2 people that I was with had a problem with it. And he chose to have a problem with all three of us, which it's still bad for what we did. We shouldn't have beat him.
Who cleaned up that mess that you made? You walked away and left him to die.
But see, if you go look
And
at
you
the
just
camera,
interrupted me.
yes, sir. I apologize.
You'll never follow rules, will you? It's got to be your way.
No, sir. It's your way. It's your way.
Are you finished? Now can I speak?
Yes, sir. I apologize.
You left him to die. You don't think this is in a public place. You don't think that's something to do with the decency of our community? Beat somebody almost to death and let somebody else have to come along and fix the situation and save that person's life? Not you, who was responsible for it in the first place.
Yes, sir.
Don't say it's just between him and me. When you leave somebody to die in the public, somebody else took care of that person.
Yes, sir.
And the community got involved. And then how many people want to come live here when they go, oh, you got kids laying almost dead in the streets because they get beaten up by their friends? What a community.
Yes, sir.
You think that brings people in
No, sir.
and embraces folks who want to come live here in an area that's supposed to be decent? It's supposed to be. Well, you're not helping.
Yes, sir.
And Judge just said, I mean, is there anything else that you wanted to say? And so here's our last opportunity before Judge makes his decision. So I don't want to put any words in your mouth. I just want you to begin by saying, Judge, please give me probation.
You're putting words in his mouth.
Well, no, please. But I'm just please. I'm gonna let him finish the sentence. Please give me probation, and here's the reason why. And you say you complete that sentence.
Judge Stevens, if you give me probation today, I can show you that I've not only grown into a man, that I'm not only realized that the stuff that I did was really, really negative and it impacted a lot of people. But if you give me probation, I can show you that I'm not going to make the same mistakes, that I do want to work. I want to pay off restitution, whatever I need to do to show that I'm growing. Because that's all I'm trying to do is grow and have a better future for myself. I understand that
Well, what about for everybody else
not just
who are supposed to be friends?
Yes, sir. That's why I said I will pay restitution and deal.
That doesn't fix. You just don't throw money at somebody and
Yes,
fix it, especially if they have brain damage.
Yes, sir.
See, that's not, you're saying you matured. That's not mature thought. You just can't throw money and rub it on the wound and it's going to miraculously heal up.
Yes, sir.
As many times as you've been dealt with by law enforcement, you had to know that leaving somebody to die was going to hold you answerable and everybody else.
Yes.
It comes down to just plain decency. And to tell me that you've matured while in prison or in a jail facility,
Yes, sir.
That's not an environment where you're going to learn all the rules of life, of living decently and appreciative with each other.
Yes, sir.
If that was true, we wouldn't send people to school and to church. We'd send them to jail.
Yes, sir.
Let me look at one thing. We can't do it.
No, sir.
Can't do it. Anything else?
Yes, sir.
All right. If there's nothing further, I'm going to find here, Mr. Watson, you have pleaded guilty voluntarily. You were mentally competent to do so. You understand the consequences of pleading guilty.
Yes, sir.
There's sufficient evidence supporting your guilty plea to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yes,
How much time does it have credit? How long have you been in jail?
Since February 14th.
This year, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. There isn't enough evidence supporting your guilty plea to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. I now find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. I am following this agreement. And you are hereby sentenced to confinement in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice to serve a term of 5 years.
Yes, sir.
There is an affirmative finding that a deadly weapon, your hands and feet, were used in the commission of this offense. That will be an affirmative finding in the judgment in this case. Unfortunately, shock probation is not allowed for this type of offense, which the court would have leaned toward granting if you wouldn't have if it wouldn't have been aggravated in the nature of the commission of the crime. Otherwise, and that's why they call it aggravated, because it is more serious than would normally be dealt with. And you, by your previous criminal history and involvement in the system, knew that those kinds of mistakes have consequences.
Yes, sir.
I hope that matures you. I hope that helps mature you. Anything else? That is. All right, what else did you have, Langston?
I think that's all. I think with Mr. Clayton, you're not.
Okay, that is your understanding of the agreement, and also if I put you on probation, you must serve at least 10 days in the county jail, day for day. Do you understand? Well, no, you can do weekends if you want, but
That was weird. Great. I have employment at STI.
okay, you have to report on or before 6:30 or 6 o'clock PM Fridays, and then they release you on 6 or 6:30 a Sunday night. And then, but you're going to do that for 5 straight weekends, successive. That's what it takes. It's 10 days, day for day. It takes 5 weekends to do it. People who do 180 days, they've got to do a year and a half.
Yes, sir. No problem.
Okay. All right. If I follow this agreement here, you have no right of appeal of your case. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
And how do you plead in this indictment? Guilty or not guilty? You're pleading guilty voluntarily and because you are guilty of what this alleges.
Yes, sir.
And paragraph 2, the prior convictions in 2018 of DWIs. Are those all true and correct as they are alleged? And are you pleading true and correct to those voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna show you what's marked as States Exhibit 1. Did you sign this? And Tommy, could you sign the bottom of it?
Sorry, Judge.
That's all right.
I missed that.
Did you sign that document?
Yes, sir.
Understand it, discuss it with your attorney, or the contents all true and correct?
Yes, sir.
State Exhibit 1 is tendered into evidence in this case. And without objection,
No objection.
admitted. Okay, I'm gonna hold that one in suspense